viewers of a Dragon Eagle TV, and I want to apologize. Viewers of Dragon Eagle TV, and sincerely apologize for the disruption, but what we're doing today, since some of you know, some of you might not, but this entire week, since Monday through Saturday, Sunday for some, for many immigrant community, historically, it's called a Welcome Week. So along with my colleagues, Lisa Gray, the Legion of the Asian Pacific communities, as well as the co-host and the producer of a Dragon Eagle TV, along with Roberto Torres, the director of Immigrant Affairs and Economic Inclusion for the city of Detroit, and myself, Wojciech Zolnowski, the executive director of the International Institute. We have put on a series of events that would somehow help the immigrant communities to have a better understanding, but also have a sense of belonging. Today, this evening session will focus on citizenship, on the process of becoming US citizen. And if the time allows, I will have some trivia questions for those who wanted to play along and so forth. There is a significant and historical part why we're doing citizenship during the Welcome Week, because as you can imagine, you know, immigrants like you and I and many others that were able to participate in this session through Dragon Eagle TV, as immigrants, the ultimate, the focal point, the pivotal point of becoming integrated and welcome, of course, should be the US citizenship. So that's one reason, that's a personal reason that we all strongly believe. But the second reason, tomorrow, September 17, is what is called US Constitution Day. And historically, it's a day where US citizenship is celebrated. So to no surprise, this Thursday evening, we decided to have a series of, you know, heart-to-heart conversation. Why become a citizen? What's the process? And where can you go to find assistance on so many different levels and so forth. So first and foremost, I want to thank my colleagues that the distinct individual that I already mentioned, but specifically, our deep gratitude to the Dragon Eagle TV. So being a part and spreading the word, disseminating this information about citizenship. So I'm gonna go ahead and share a screen, one of the two. So the first information, we just have I introduced myself, and I'm proudly stated the organization that I represented. And if people are interested, they can always find out more. They can always reach out to me, my colleagues, and find out additional information about what we do, but specifically we're focusing on the citizenship and so forth. So as I mentioned, I am executive director of the International Institute of Metropolitan Detroit. We are at the heart of Midtown, not far from downtown, and our location allows us to serve people from east and west, north, not necessarily south, but we do serve some Canadians too. So folks, you have our address, 111 East Kirby, and DIA is next to us, so it's Wayne State University. For more information about all of the program the Institute provides, And I would recommend you please reach out to our website at www.iimd.org. Most recent events, they are always posted on our Facebook, IIM Detroit, and you have our immigration legal hotline. I think that's the number for those who really think that it's time now to become a US citizen, or any other legal assistant. That's the number you should keep very close on your, put it as a speed dial, even if it's a number 9 on your speed dial, have it next to you. So International Institute, we are 102 years old organization that is dedicated with cohort of programs to the international communities like yours and mine. We have quite a bit to accomplish over the 102 years, over 2 million individuals served. Now, why citizenship, and why myself included, why my colleagues, why people in immigrant communities, and it's not just in United States, not in Michigan, but throughout the entire country, mobilize resources and try to educate, promote. Just take a look at this number, and I purposely, and that's a data from the Office of Immigrant Homeland Security, USCIS. Take a look, because in order to be eligible, we're looking 5 years. So I had only been able to get data from 2019 that was recently published. However, the trend continues. So if you look at Michigan, we have approximately, year after year, 140,000 people who are what technical term, the LPR, which stands legal permanent resident. We know them as a green card holders. So maybe that's you, maybe that's your neighbor, maybe that's your family members, maybe that's your relative. So here I sharing with you certain significant points of consideration why we should become a US citizen, but as well, most significantly, you could be the ambassador for citizenship, because there is even further data, national data, that supports the fact that after the first 5 years of receiving a green card, the longer people become so comfortable with just having a green card, they stopping pursuing the ultimate goal of becoming US citizens. So that's a very significant factor to consider in terms of why should we become a citizen? Why, if you are a green card holder, if you are one of the 140,000 eligible, you know what, maybe it's time to make a decision and make the final push and so forth. So I'm gonna talk about reasons why, and those are strictly, social, cultural, economic benefits. But before I get to details and become very technical, and I try to make it as simple as possible and maybe fun at some point. I am a naturalized citizen. I came to the United States in 1991, become natural citizens in 2014. It was emotional day because there was, I believe there was a 13th anniversary of 9/11. So I become a citizen actually on 9/11 by 2014. But why I want to share a story with you, because perhaps you can, the story of mine is perhaps similar to yours. The presentation that I'm doing to you today, I did so many times. And that was even before I became a US citizen. I was encourage other people to make the decision to become a citizen. And I was, today I can honestly say I was a hypocrite because I was telling people why should they, and those 10 reasons didn't convince me until and one person in my life that I couldn't refuse to. So perhaps the story that I want to share with you can resonate with you, the viewer of Dragon Eagle TV, or any other venues that participate in today's presentation. You could be the very significant part of someone's life. So, my daughter right now, my youngest daughter right now, she's in college. But back then, she was a 5th grader at local public schools. And as you 5th grader, you start, learning about civics. And it's, they learn about Constitution, they learn about the process of becoming citizen. And one day she came home from school, and she knew, that I work for the Institute. She knew that I, talk to people about citizenship. But she sat down. I remember like it happened yesterday. She looked straight in my face, and she says, "Are you U.S. citizen?" And I says, "No." Okay. So then she said, "So what are you waiting for?" Okay. And why I'm gonna go through this presentation, keep this in mind, or this question, why are you waiting for, or why you don't ask your neighbor or family member, because as you saw at 140,000 still waiting for. So meaning they are eligible, they just don't make the decision to pursue it, the ultimate dream of becoming U.S. citizenship or U.S. citizen. So that question, the question that the 5th grader throw in front of me, make me wonder, why should I? I memorized those 10 benefits that I'm going to share with you in a second. But what was more personal, why should I? And the 11 reasons that I'm going to tell you later on, or remind you later on, the 11 reasons beyond all of those, very significant benefits is that because becoming U.S. citizen, no matter what pathway of life you came from, you're walking through, it's the right thing to do. Becoming U.S. citizen is something that we own to people that in all likelihood, and I can honestly share, I visit many places, but nobody cheered me on to learn English, to push me through thick and thin, and always were very supportive, like community where I grew up in Dearborn, or lived in Dearborn, or, right now downriver, and many places where I come and visit you, people like Lisa, people like Roberto. So we as a foreigners, we own to those people. And, yes, sometimes money is the issue, but we as immigrants, we will do everything to get the green card. You borrow the money, you're gonna sell things, you're gonna work extra job to make the money for a green card, family reunification, I-130s, 485s, and work permits. But then once we get the green card, we become indifferent. And when I consider, we own it to people who sacrifice their lives on 9/11 so we could be free. So there's all cohorts. If you really think through, the one thing that really sold me, and now I am very, as you see, very passionate, supporter, advocate for U.S. citizenship, because I strongly believe it is the right thing to do. Because what I experienced, I own to my neighbor who didn't mind that I speak foreign language. I own to my car mechanic that, he always tried to cheer me on. And, people that I work, people that I encounter at school, and everything along. So it's not, I'm going to tell you again, those 10 things are very significant, but dig deeper, because what I want you to consider, what I want you to think about it is the fact, why should I become? Because it's the right thing to do. So without any further ado, after sharing with you something personal that, from time to time I share people, try to convince them different way, to think think more from the heart. Because if you don't feel like it's the right thing to do, nothing will matter, and so forth. All right, so folks, the first reason that I always approach, and that's a very significant part of our democracy. I think many of us came here, many of us, either if you came as a refugee, asylum seeker, or immigrants, came for jobs, tourist visa, and then find out it's a great place to live. What you also learn about it, that democracy, the principle of democracy, the Greek word demokratos, meaning people rule if we have the right to vote. Many of you probably came to another countries. I grew up in communist Poland, that, the voting rights were very restricted, or very few could vote it, the selective part. So here we have a, system. Perhaps it's not perfect, what we experienced recently. Nevertheless, it's still something that is worth fight for. So the voting rights, as an immigrant, you can complain, oh, I don't like the way my taxes are paid. For example, probably you're not gonna like it that is, why I have to, why elderly in my community have to wait, since they are 50 or 55 and green card for 20 years to get a test in. Well, the only way you can change it, the system here is through voting for the people that will represent you and speak on your behalf. Right now, as a green card holder or any other, your abilities to stand for something are very limited. Yes, you have a human rights and all of the good stuff that comes with it, and you can express your thoughts. Nevertheless, to make the decision not for you, for you, think about your kids. You cannot vote. So take it seriously. I mean, we should take it seriously. But the voting rights, that's something that's only, and rightly so, significant and dedicated to US citizens. Running for federal office, think about it, think about Rashida, think about, few other state representatives that right now from your communities, that they were foreign born, that they become the voices for the respective community because they are naturalized US citizens. So look, to run for the US Senate, citizen for 9 years, and for House Representative 7 years. Only US president has to be born citizen. So unfortunate folks, you and I cannot run for the office of a presidency, that's something exclusive selected for natural born citizens. Access to public benefits, and as you know, our administration, our system is constantly changing. So as we aging folks, I was telling you, I became a citizen 2014. I've been the director of the institute 15 years. It goes so fast, and our needs change, and so you got to think for yourself, but also for your parents. Medicare can require the legal person pay more expensive premium than citizens. So all of those are, as I said, social, cultural, economic values, that access to public benefits. And if you heard the public charge issue that's been going around and try to scare or misinformation, that's a forte of today society that gets their information from the Facebook and Twitter. Unfortunate, but they are some changes to public benefits. And of course, being a U.S. citizen, those benefits are more of a guarantee rather than something that might come and go. Petition for family members. So look, especially Dragon DETV, South Asian community, and think about a family reunification, your parents, siblings, spouses, minor children, and parents. So you see, you have all cohorts, what you see on this slide, that as a U.S. citizen, you can sponsor them. Yes, there is a process, but there is a way you could, you could engage in a family reunification. Now, and that's a very critical part, because the previous administration, they were about, and there was a conversation of what is called merits versus family reunification. So the only people who could be sponsored, who could come, are people who have a higher number of merits, so highly educated immigrants with specific skills. They will have a certain priorities, and of course, income. This thing didn't take place yet. However, that's not too far-fetched ideas, and in the future, this privilege of U.S. citizen might go away. So please, time is now. If you still want to take advantage of this opportunity, become a citizen, and you can legally, legitimately sponsor family members. So as you see, the difference between U.S. citizen versus green card holder is significant in terms of your abilities to bring other family members. Traveling with U.S. passports. U.S. passports give you some sort of, you becoming the citizen of the world. So you don't have to worry about visa, or for some of us, perhaps, I remember my journey through various stages, the parole, the white papers that you can travel back and forth, and things of the nature. So you have this document that makes you, you can say the citizen of the world. So passport with traveling U.S. passport could be issued just within 24 hours, become a citizen. Look, citizenship for your children. So let's say you have children, are they under 18? And I'm going to talk about this a little bit later, but the form, the N400 form, which is the application for U.S. citizen. Once you list your minor children, they become U.S. citizens while you receive your certificate. So what happens? You can apply for their U.S. passport. Later on, you can ask for the minors. The form N600, which is little costly, but you can get a certificate, but they don't have to go through the process of interviews and blah blah blah. So there's a number of benefits for younger families who have children that were not born here, but let's say abroad, and they were brought 2, 3 years old or older, but they are still under 18. Once you list them on your application, they become automatically, folks, they becoming automatically a naturalized citizen. They can get a U.S. passport with your certificate of citizenship. And as I mentioned, to be even more, more educational for you, after that takes place, you can submit what is called N600, and we can assist with you with both forms. You can apply for your children to receive just the formal document, the certificate of naturalization. So look, benefits number 6. Protection from deportation, yes. So becoming protects you and your children from deportation. Green card does not assure that if you saw it, if you heard about it, you know, I think in the last 4 years, there was a lot of things going on that the administration under the previous policies, they were going after people who are green card holders, but they had some criminal records and they were considered priorities. So just being a LPR, the legal permanent resident, did not assure, did not guarantee, did not protect them from the fact that they could be deported. If they applied a long time ago, the process was much quicker, easier, and you don't have to worry about those issues and so forth. Many countries have dual citizenship. And again, we would have to check with the embassy or with your countries that you are for, but you know, many countries allow dual citizenship. So that's another benefit, that you can be US citizen, but also citizen of another country. Like for example, I know India has ability to issue dual citizenship, but it's, I believe, based on the community conversation, it's a less valuable. It's like a step down from a typical India citizenship, but there is many other countries that they allow dual citizenship. Okay, retirement income. As you folks know, you know, many people retire and decided to spend longer time in their native land. Once you're a US citizen, you don't have to worry. You don't have to count every year. Well, have I overstayed? Because I'm gonna get to the details of the overstatement, but you don't have to worry about what is called the abandonment, that somebody overstayed the time allotted because, you know, sickness, illness. I mean, how many immigrants that I know that I encounter, hey, I go back to my country, to Turkey or China, to India, because I'm going there to fixing my teeth because it's cheaper, or hey, I heard as far as hair implants and many other things. Having US citizenship, you don't have to worry if you overstay beyond the 6 month period within a year. So you see, additionally, you know, your social security, your retirement could be transferred to a bank of your choice as the US citizen. So there is, you know, I think, as I mentioned, guys, you know, getting younger, as we, you know, thinking about the plans, I mean, thinking about the you know, the issues associated with you know, one hand global pandemic, on the other hand, where should I go to retire because of the climate change and so forth. I think it's a very valuable consideration. Government jobs, that's, you know, many jobs in a federal industry are strictly required to be US citizens. So for example, Postal Service, FBI, CIA, but many state departments, they will consider you know, citizen versus green card holder. So there's extended career opportunity. And my favorite, I saved the best for last, folks. 11, right thing to do. So right to leave an exclamation point. Becoming US citizen, and I'm, you know, speaking from my heart, you know, I come to conviction, it is the right thing to do. Once you consider all of those variables, I'm telling you, you know, I memorized all of those stands. They were not very important, and perhaps they do speak to you. But what can convince me is the challenge by my own daughter So perhaps we need you, the viewers of Dragon Eagle TV, to perhaps you the very significant part of someone's lives, because you're going to ask the question, what are you waiting for? Just become a citizen. There's so many places they can assist you. Don't be so. Citizenship could be as easy as 1, 2, 3. So speaking of the 1, 2, 3, what are the requirements? Because sometimes it's confusing, and I rightly understand it. But again, you're not alone. One thing, what I wanted to the viewers to know, that you are not alone. You know, I went through this, my colleagues went through this, and you know, in a recent quarters, we did 170. We just celebrated 170 cases from 32 countries. Just let me repeat it. Quarter 170 application 170, 32 nationalities. So listen, we have experience with all sorts of issues, questions, and if there is a problem, there's a solution. As long as everything is within the legal ramification. So to apply for U.S. citizen, you have to be 18 years old. Anyone prior to, as you saw it, they're going on the parents' application. So you have to be 18 years old to apply for U.S. citizen. Must be a permanent resident, so the LPR, the green card, for 5 years. It's 5 years. I mean, to be technical, we can start applying when 4 years and 9 months. So now, if it's at 2021, so if you go to 2017, so 2016, 2017, and anything before. I mean, I've seen a green card for over 20 years. They're the white green cards. So I've seen it all, folks. I've seen it all. Nothing surprises me. I was one of them. So don't feel bad. Don't feel, well, you should feel a little bit. I hope my presentation convinced you to make the final call. But 5 years, 5 years green card. There are some exceptions. So the exceptions are if you married to U.S. citizen. Okay, so if the spouse was U.S. citizen, you only need to wait 3 years. Okay, 5 years or older, you applying based on your own merits. Within the 3 years, what we need to submit is the marriage license, valid, prove it that the marriage was valid. So some documents, shared documents like bank accounts, insurance, joint income taxes, and so forth. It's like they live together, they have, rental agreement together. So anything that can help to validate, to build an argument that there was that the marriage is valid, that it's really the togetherness. So it's the proof on us to show it that they really live together. But it's not as difficult as maybe even I talk about it. So you see that's where the abandonment comes into. So you have to live in the United States. Well, let me take it back. Permanent resident. I think the definition that comes right here, and it's the LPR, the legal permanent. So once you're becoming a green card, if you think or speak in terms of the language, it's the intent that your intent was, when the U.S. government approves your application, that you will permanently reside, whatever the location is. 111 is Kirby, or whatever Wall Lake City, Troy, Sterling Heights. So for that reason, they are very on target to require that your intent your intent was to permanently stay in the United States, in this case, somewhere in Michigan, and then so forth. So on the application, we have to demonstrate that in the last 5 years, at least half of the 5 years, so more than 2.5, you actually spend in the United States. How typically comes to play, we look year after year. So in the application, we're going to look 5 years traveling history. So let's say, so as I said, okay, so it's 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, and 2017. As I said, that's where you can start. So what really matters is if any of this year, let's say, so that would give me 1, 2, 3, 5 years, more or less. I'm not, but I'm about to, because it's September, so there's a 9 month. So if my LPR says January of 2017 and October of 2021, I can apply that with 4 years. So look, comes very simple. If any of those years, let's say in 2019, I went back to Poland and I stayed 8 months, okay? 8 months, I would break the continual residency. So unless there was some sort of medical reason, or I had to take care of the parents, or I had what is called traveling, parole, because let's say my job, I'm a US resident, my intent was to leave the United States. However, my job send me, because I work, let's say, for Ford, and they send me to Poland and so forth. So there could be exception, but what would happen if I would break the continuing residency? Then year 2020 will be my first year, and the 5 years starts all over. So you see, I've seen it. It doesn't happen too often, but unfortunately, sometimes I have to break someone's heart, that telling them, look, because of this, you have to wait another 3 years to be eligible, because of the abandonment issues and so forth. Now, if somebody, 2017 went on vacation for 2 months, here they went 2 months in January and 2 months, that will be perfectly fine. We have to all list it, but the issue is here. Typically, that's why the 6 months, less than 6 months, less than a half year. So sometimes it's the totality. So that's why 2 months here, 2 months, maybe even 3 months and 2 months, that's still fine. But it's more of if I continuously stay for more than 6 months, that's what's going to break my the continual presence in the United States. So I hope I make it as clear as possible. Understand simple English. The rule is third grade level. For some of our elderly folks in the community, that sometimes is a challenge. So you have to speak, write, communicate at the third grade level. So like, for example, write a simple sentence. It's not just yes or no question. It's more of a, write a simple sentence. Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. I live in Troy, Michigan. Okay. Lansing is the capital of Michigan. So those are type of questions. George Washington was George Washington was the first president of the United States. So usually the adjudicators, they have the sequence of statement that they want you to write. On your test, and I'm going to talk a little bit later. So if I jump back and forth, please, folks, don't mind it. I wanted to pour on you all of the information that I experienced over the years, and I went through myself. But as you know, the 100 questions right now, the expectation is they pull out 10, you have to answer 6, and you have to write at least 2 sentences. Which 10, we don't know. But what also I noticed in my personal experience, my colleagues' experience, that the failures, many of the immigrants memorize the questions, which state is, for example, south, or which state is border with Canada. They memorize those answers. It's more of those yes or no questions on the applications, and therefore, you know, I will share with you information about classes where we prepare you to shine and go forward. The language exceptions is very good to know. We call it the 50-20, 55-15. So, and I apologize my scribblings, but if you are 50 years old or older, okay, so you here see, it's somebody looking at your date of birth, you're 15 or older, and had the green card for 20 years, you could be exempt from English language and you can take it in your own language. So again, 50-20, 50 years or older, green card for 20 years. And you can take it in your own language. What typically happens, they do not provide a translator. You have to bring the interpreter with you. Ideally not the family members, because they could be considered biased, but somebody in your community that can speak your language and can communicate English. So basically, adjudicator asks the question in English to the interpreter. The interpreter translates the question in your own language. Is it Mandarin or Punjabi or any other, or Cantonese, and then you respond in your own language to the interpreter, and interpreter answers to. That's why the rule of thumb is don't bring your family members, because what if you answer wrong and they translate, they interpret it the right. So that's why they ideally somebody from the community members. So another exemption, 55. Somebody is 55 and a green card for 15 years. You can as well do the application. Not so much the application. The test, the interview would be in your language. What I always consider to be kind of unfair, and I had a chance to speak to the people in Washington on numerous occasions, as member of a national community, why the age and the requirement I thought was kind of unfair, the 50-20, but they says, look, that's the law, folks, that's the law, and now I fully understand it. If we are unhappy about it, if we think that it should be less than the requirements, that okay, it's 50 years old, but green card, let's say for 5 years or 10 years, and then 55 just 5 years, folks. If we don't like it, we have to vote. You see the catch-22. We can complain as much as I want. I can. Why we have to? When people get older, the memory is not there. Please remember that old age, and I say it with all due respect, old age is not the excuse, because I'm going to talk about what is 648 form, which is the medical waiver, and one of the things is people coming, look, I got older, I can memorize it. And unfortunate, that's not the case. It's not the a valid reason for 648. But as I said, if you don't like this exemptions or the strict guidelines, the only way we can change is through Congress. How we do it, when you're becoming citizen, you're going to write to your congressman, your senators, blah, blah, blah. You can pick people who will advocate it and change those things. And it's not just me, you, but the immigrant communities. The only thing that can change those policies is the U.S. Congress, and only U.S. citizen can make those requirements. So you see, we can have a both. Meaning, if we don't like it, hey, if you don't like it, and you are just green card holder, become a U.S. citizen. If you are already U.S. citizen and you think it's unfair to the community, hey, you have the tools, just use it. So you see, so that's how I always. So that's speaking further in terms of the requirements. No U.S. history in government. So that's a very critical part. So out of the 100 questions, and in terms of the urgency, there was an attempt to change the questions from 100 to 128. There was a lot of pushback. With the new administration, they resented, and we go back to the old test. But you know what future holds. If you want to make it, if you want to apply when it's still easier, now's your chance. So again, 10 out of 100, then you have to answer 6 correct. That's why six answers. There is one more language exemptions that you don't deal in with the 100, but just 20. If you are 65 or older, and again, the green card for 20 years, you'll be only asked to memorize or to work with 20 questions, but they will still pull out 10. So the pool shrinks under those conditions from 100 to only 20, and they are specifically marked. So the experts like the International Institute will know which, if that's applicable to you, you will need to deal with. But those are, again, 65, my goodness, you still have to learn those things, but your own language. But as I said before, in order to make any changes in that regard, vote. Well, become a citizen, vote to make those changes. Or if you are a citizen, you have tools, you can write it. Be a good moral character. So you know, and it's not just the criminal aspects, but also paying the taxes. It's a very important that the taxes, even if somebody is behind the taxes, but there is a process that the person is paying back, they'll be still fine. We know how to go about it and make the case for a good moral characters. And all of those questions, habitual drunkard, and everything delayed to, you know, the experts here at the Institute will go through details to make sure that we don't set you for failure. And that's why we are here, and that's why we're good at it. So please keep this in mind. We will make sure that all of those things are, you know, unfolded in front of you. That's why I don't want to go into details, because, you know, some of the questions ask you, you know, have you solicited for prostitution? I don't want to get into like specific, but there is a way that people don't understand those questions. Or have you ever belonged to guerrilla group? You know, so if you, you know, and you know, maybe that's too presumptuous apparently, but any from Dragon Eagle TV, as far as I know, South Asian community, gorillas never existed. It's more of a Central South America. So certain questions you might not even know. Therefore, you need the expert to explain it to you, because otherwise you're going to put yourself in a corner. And finally, you're going to sweat all of the allegiance. So, you know, do you swear? And that's at the end, those 5 questions: to support the Constitution, bear arms on behalf of the United States, or serve in services. So there are some cases that some people, for a religious reason, they are against bearing arms. We have to explain it, but there is a way. There is a legal way that our expert staff will help you if that's your main objections. Now, the fee, application fee, and I want to make sure it's clear. As of now, as we speak, is $725. You know, 6 months ago, there was a push to increase it by 80%. So there was a aim to increase it to $1125. So no community says, look, you know, the cost of living would not justify this spike by 80%, and the current administration agreed. So the fee still remains $725, and so forth. However, and that's, you know, another piece I want to share with you. You know, that's the form application. I'm gonna skip this, guys, because the form G28 is for legal representation. So typically, if the organization that I represent, the oldest, I would say, I don't want to drum our beat, but the most knowledgeable in Southwest Michigan organization that we've been doing this for such a long time, and we have a great success rate. We would represent every single client that we fill the application. We send this form G28. So meaning we will behave, we will act on your behavior. And what happens is that because of this form, every documents, every information that is sent to a client is sent it to the representative, so it's attorney at the institute. So what happens then we will remind you, hey, you got to go for fingerprinting and so forth. Also, we are obligated, if you request it, we'll have to go to your interview if you says, you know what, I need you to come with me, and we will stick with you folks until you pass the citizenship. We will remind you, go register to vote, apply for US passport, and we got to the point that we work for food. We are nonprofit, but people invite us to it. Just kidding. So it's not just your smile, your certificate, your picture with your certificate is sufficient for us to feel gratifying. Hey, we did a darn good job. So I'm gonna skip at the G28, folks, because it's a more sometimes we submit it along the alien change of address card. Typically every person that green card holder, anyone under immigrant status, until should submit the change of address within 30 days from the time they move to notify the USCIS. And sometimes people forget about it. So there are occasions that we have to do it on top of the N400. We submit this AR11 to change of address, because what would happen sometimes, the feds, what they do when they respond to your application, they send to the address and records, and address of record, if this thing was submitted, it was your old address. And so it happened to some of our clients because they forgot to tell you, oh, you know what, when I move, I don't think I informed them. So they lose sometimes. Okay, the form is downloadable. Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna go with this, guys. Okay. So medical waiver, as you see, folks, request for medical waiver. Medical waiver would exempt, if approved, let me make it clear, if approved, and medical waiver will grant you U.S. naturalization, you will, without taking the testing, the interview, and so forth. And the medical waiver, it's I'm sorry, I'm a jump ahead of it. I'm sorry, what we're talking about is fee waiver. I just noticed. I sincerely apologize. You raised everything I said. So fee waiver relates to the fact that the cost right now is $725. So the fee waiver, if you qualify, and sometimes immigrants have this false sense of pride. Ooh, you know what? If that exists and you fall into this category, don't be afraid to use it. So you're saving $725. You can do something with it, and I can give you 10 ideas. But the fee waiver, under certain condition, will allow you to make sure that you're not obligated to pay the $725. So listen, the information you're gaining today, not only you're gonna one organization that can help you with the application, but also we can help you to save some money. How does the proposition sound? So there are certain conditions, and I'm gonna go quickly over because I'm thinking of the time. Okay, let's take 6 minutes. Okay, so typically it's filled up either by you or by your legal counsel, and I see those are the three main requirements. Okay, so what is called means tested, and I'm going to show you the means tested. If any of you and your family members receive public benefits like a bridge card or Medicaid, Those are the right now the most common documents that will somehow assure, prove, validate the request, that those are the means tested benefits, that the agency, the approved agency already validates that you're based on your income and the situation, you receiving public benefits. So form of a public benefits. So take a look. So that's what we're looking for, like a state of Michigan. So we have to attach those documents, but that's the easiest, the quickest way. We have to submit all of those pages. Take a look. Second, my household income is below 150% poverty guidelines. So right now the poverty guidelines so what it means, what those numbers mean. So let me take a random. If let's say the family of 4. Okay. So, and then typically we're looking for two things: is income taxes, the most recent income taxes. So in this case, there will be what 2020 that we filled it up by or submitted by. They were extended to July 15, but typically the April 15. So let's say husband, wife, and 2 children. And if the combined income for family of 4 is less than 39,000 with some change, you would be, under that condition, you will be eligible to request a fee waiver. And then, as you see, different family, depending on the level of the family of 8 over 66,000. But again, that has to be the household income. Sometimes people mistaken because and that's why we need to look at the income tax, because hypothetically, sometimes the children claim the parents. Then the parents apply for, and we find out that the children that they're claiming them, they they make over 160,000. So sometimes the parents don't have an income, but unfortunately, it's a household income. So there is a way. I mean, I'm not gonna all of the tricks of a trade, but how you do your taxes, maybe next year you do differently, or if the parents show that they live in a separate and their expenses and so forth. So there is a way to go about it, but sometimes people think, well, my parents don't have any money, but if you put them on your income, that's a different story, would not fall under this category. The third one, the financial hardship is a little bit harder to prove it, because it has to be, some sort of exuberant cost, like for example, COVID-related medical recovery cost. I mean, if somebody is the long hauler, or so that's it's a little bit harder, because we have to collect bills and validate that the income covers only XYZ of the cost of the because of atrocious cost due to, typically it's a medical cost. There's a form I-494, which is requested for fee reduction. So the fee reduction, I think, is a 405. So you have to be so you saw below 150, but then if somebody is between 150 and 200, so for example, what it means, the difference between, so if that's a 150, so there was a night for one, so it was 19,000, what was it, 320. Now, if the bracket between 150 to 200, it's increased, for example, to 25,760. Remember, the family of 4, 150 was 39, I believe, 750. But 250 family of 4 is a 53,000. Apologize for my scribbling. So what it means, if there's a family of 4 and their income, combined income, is less than 53,000, because let's say maybe one spouse works and the other spouse has to take care of the little kids. If the combined income is less than 50,000, you will qualify for this reduced fee, which is only 405. So it's not 725, but it's only 405. Again, there is a sequence of attachment to validate that, and so forth. Last thing, folks, I didn't talk about the form 648. So 648, that's a and 648, that's a 648. Maybe I can write. It's a medical waiver. Medical waiver is for someone that you know, has typically some medical issue, but cognitive skills. So post-traumatic stress, I mean, or there was some, you know, defects to a mental health that the cognitive capacity where, you know, is minimized, reduced, or non-existing. So, but again, doctor fills up the form, the people have to go through different cycle of evaluation. So it's doable, but that's the doctor has to make this determination. And even if we submit it and the doctor fills up and seal envelope, they might still not approve it. But again, for people who really, there is a of course the way N648. Now, in terms of the resources, and I'm running close out of time, but folks, you know, for people who already apply or thinking about applying, we offer citizenship classes. Our new session starts October 4th. So there's a cohort of 3 classes, and we offer, they are not listed here, but two classes in Troy and Dearborn, when you can have a face-to-face for a smaller group following all of the safety protocol related to COVID-19. And guys, you're just going online, folks, you copy this link or scan the code, and you open the you know, Google Drive registration form, and you fill it up, whatever is needed, and you have one of the best instructor in Southeast Michigan, Justine, and she will be able to prepare you and go through so many details and so forth. And last but not least, one more time, how to reach us. You know, you have our hotline, 313-600-7618. You have my personal email. I'm you know, so dedicated to citizenship that I share with you folks my personal email. And you know, certain things we can do, we can assist you remotely. So folks don't feel that, you know, we so advanced in terms of a process that we have a you know, we can talk to you over Zoom. We can do your application remotely. So there's more than one way. But unless there are questions, I think I exhausted a lot of time. But one more time, I wanted to thank the audience, and specifically the audience of Dragon Eagle TV. I hope this info session, sort of informal, help you to make this decision to, hey, you know, citizenship is as easy as 1, 2, 3. If you get the right help from the right organization, and you have a chance. We are the International Institute. We're there to help you. I want to thank Roberto for conceptualize the idea of Welcoming Week. Lisa Gray, my colleague, friend of the International Institute, along with the Dragon Eagle TV, and everyone. I see Dr. Ledig is on it, so you know, at least I have some support from our board members. So thank you guys so much. But I will stick around if there is any questions from the audience. I don't know if we can even do this, but folks, you have my contact information. We're here to help you. We've been doing this for over 100 years, and you know, and it's based on the numbers. We cannot sunset yet because 140,000 people in Michigan are still waiting. I wish I knew the answer. Thank you, folks, so much. I will stick for a couple of minutes before I close the session, just in case somebody wants to ask and you know, and exchange some ideas. Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions, but one more thing I forgot to mention, but if you go to our Facebook, we're going to a community. Actually, next Saturday, we will be in Canton, in Hindu Temple in Canton, to assist people with citizenship applications. So if somebody wants to see us in Canton, we will be there next Saturday. And I believe in October, we will be in Dearborn High, the public library is hosting us to talk about citizenship. Please, we share those information on our Facebook site. I should have with my presentation, but folks, there's always a way you can get in touch with us. So since there's no hands, no questions being asked, I'm going to close the session, guys, folks, but I want to thank you for your attention, for spending the hour with me. And, knowing Lisa, we're going to do something similar sooner rather than later. Thank you so much. Be safe and stay tuned. Bye for now.